welcome to Play PKN, the weekly video bulletin of the top news stories on PKN Packaging News, Australia's media hub for the packaging industry. I'm PKN's publisher Lindy Hewson, and this week's episode is brought to you once again by Ball and Doggett, Australia's largest distributor of printable materials for packaging and the creator of the Ecoporium by Ball and Doggett platform. In our lead story this week, following the completion of Orora's can manufacturing line expansions at 2 plants in Victoria, which were part funded by the state government ministers paid the Dandenong site a visit. Now, this is the site that houses a new $80 million multi-size can line, which was completed in June, and Orora has also invested $30 million into its can ends production capacity, which was completed in March at the company's Ballarat site. And at that site, it has also increased its warehousing capacity. Now, expansion across the 2 Victorian sites is creating 18 new jobs and boosting the state's advanced manufacturing capabilities, a boost for Victoria and also why the government ministers wanted to pay a visit. Construction has also commenced on a new $85 million multi-size can line at Orora's Revesby, New South Wales facility, which will be commissioned in the second half of 2025. Overall, Orora is investing some $195 million in its cans business, which has just reported 10% growth in the last financial year. Financial reporting season continues, and this week we see results released for ProPack Packaging, whose CEO John Sereni says the company's period of rationalization of sites, plants and services is now over, and the business is well positioned to focus on growing its profits. ProPack's revenue dipped by 5% in the financial year to $339 million, but its EBITDA continued its upwards trend. Sereni said, "We have exited the machinery, the sites and the segments, particularly in specialty packaging, that we wanted to exit, and we are now focused on revenue and profitability growth." He told analysts on the results call that new customer wins, such as Arnott's, was evidence of the opportunity in front of ProPack, and said there were many more opportunities to convert prospects currently in the pipeline into sales. Interestingly, the company is also focusing on its industrial soft plastics recycling plans and has already received the first tranche of a $6.1 million government grant to help develop this project, which Sereni said ProPack will undertake with partners. The company aims to turn waste soft plastic, that's industrial waste, into stretch film and shrink wrap. Then over to the country's biggest print operation, IVE, which is also reporting this week and has committed to entering the packaging market and is zeroing in on the higher margin, shorter run folding carton segment and the flexibles packaging segment. The company says that due to similarities with many of its existing businesses and its aligned ESG credentials, the $700 million fiber-based folding cartons market is its initial and primary area of focus. Jeff Selig, executive chairman of IVE, said the company will be identifying and executing an appropriate packaging acquisition in this current year, likely in the mid-tier range. We'll bring you that news as it happens. Then Australian packaging covenant organisation APCO has been engaging with the packaging value chain through a series of interactive forums with participant feedback showing strong support for recycled content targets and mandatory participation in extended producer responsibility schemes. Held around the country, the forums are providing APCO members and stakeholders with information about the reset that APCO is undertaking of its own capabilities and its approach following its recent review of the national packaging targets. It is also looking at the work APCO is doing along with government to help drive the transition to a stronger regulatory approach on packaging beyond 2025. The 5 forums that were face-to-face in major centres have been completely booked out, but you can still register for an online forum to be held next week, Thursday, the 31st of August from 2 to 4 p.m. The link to register is in the article on our website or on the APCO website. Then in other headline makers this week, is Hard Solo's livery designed to lure? That's the burning question. Independent market research firm Lures surveyed Australians to see how they feel about Asahi's new Hard Solo brand extension into alcoholic beverages, which has been released to a mixed reception, with concerns raised in the media and in Parliament about the packaging, which is similar to soft drink Solo brand, potentially confusing young consumers. 45% of respondees felt it promotes drinking to minors. The full results of the survey are on our website, very interesting to see. Australian tea producer Madura Tea then has moved its packaging materials that were previously based on metallized oriented polypropylene to switch them to flexible packaging paper supplied by Gundlach Packaging Group and Koehler Paper. Gen Technologies, meanwhile, is expanding its bag-in-box packaging offering and expertise. It says this is in response to double-digit growth in demand from Australian food and beverage companies. Interesting to see the growth there in bag-in-box. Sadleir's Packaging has launched a fully recyclable 100% polypropylene flexible intermediate bulk bag with 30% recycled content, and this is an industry first in Australia. Then for the diary, the Australian Institute of Packaging, the AIP, is celebrating its 60th anniversary on the 1st of September with a rooftop dinner at the Crown Aviary in Melbourne. There are still a few tickets available, so don't miss out. All of industry is invited. The highly anticipated Plastics and the Circular Economy Conference 2023 will run from the 9th to the 12th of October as an online and in-person event. 2 of those days are in person in Melbourne. In the lead up to the conference, PKN is speaking to some of the presenters, and this week Kate Noble from WWF Australia highlights the need for more attention to be placed on circularity in the plastics packaging supply chain. And finally, the latest episode of the PKN podcast is now live with AFGC CEO Tanya Barden as our guest to provide an update on the National Plastics Recycling Scheme, which shows tremendous promise as one solution for post-consumer soft plastics recycling in Australia. Take a listen, it's worth it, I promise. Well, that's all from me this week. For more on these and other stories, you know where to go, packagingnews.com.au. Thank you, as ever, for watching.